Hey everyone, in this video we are going to make the most intimidating page of DaVinci Resolve look easy and fun. By the end, you will be able to create professional looking motion graphics all on your own. So let's get started. Before we dive into the fun stuff, let's take a quick tour of Fusion so you know where everything lives. Up top we have two viewers. This is where you preview your footage and nodes. Below that is the toolbar, where you can find the most commonly used nodes. Down here is your node editor. Think of it as your canvas. This is where you will connect nodes and build your designs. On the right, we have Inspector panel. Select any node and tweak its settings here. You'll be spending a lot of time in this panel. Next to it is the Spline panel, where you can smooth your animations and make motion look natural. Up here is the Media pool, just like in the edit page. Drag your clips into the Fusion from here. And besides it, the Effects library, where you can drag built-in effects and titles straight into your node editor. By default, you will see Media In and Media Out nodes. Media In holds your footage and Media Out shows the final result. Each node connects to another through a pipeline. Think of nodes like ingredients in a recipe. Just like a chef combines ingredients to make the perfect dish, we combine nodes to create our final design. So you can see Fusion has a bunch of different panels. The cool thing is their size isn't fixed. You can just grab the borders and drag them to make them bigger or smaller. Super handy when you're working on bigger designs. And if you ever mess it up and want to go back to the default layout, just head to the workspace and click Reset UI Layout. Alright, awesome. Now that you have got a good feel for the Fusion UI, let's dive into some projects. This will help you understand what nodes are, how they work, and how you can use them to create the exact look you want. Let's say you want to give your footage a different vibe. Grab the color corrector node from the toolbar and drag it over the main pipeline. When the line turns yellow and blue, let go, and Fusion will connect it automatically. Now you can tweak the settings to create the look you want. Play around with these values and see how it changes your footage. You can make it cinematic, dreamy, or even a bit nostalgic. Just experiment and see what feels right. Okay, delete the color corrector node and let's create a cinematic blur at the beginning of our footage using a blur node. Instead of dragging it over to the main pipeline, just select the Media In node and click on the blur node. It will connect automatically. Just another way to add a node. Slightly increase the blur size until it feels right. Now you can see the blur is affecting the whole footage. But if you don't want to blur a certain area like our subject, you can create a simple mask around it. Just drag an ellipse node and connect it to the blur node. Select the ellipse node and go to the inspector panel. Check the invert box so everything outside the circle is blurred. You can also soften the edges a little to make it blend nicely. Now everything except our subject is blurred. Delete the mask for a moment and let's add a cinematic blur to the first few frames of our footage, the kind of blur you have probably seen in movies. Select your blur node and reset it by clicking this button. Make sure you are at frame 0. Increase the blur to around 15 and add a keyframe. Now move about 30 frames forward and bring the blur size back down to 0. That's it. Let's play. Perfect. Now the fun part. Let's add some text and animate it. Grab a text plus node from the toolbar and click this little dot to preview it on left viewer. Type in your text. Let's say downtown. Pick your font and colors and I'm going with cyan. And position it wherever you want on your screen. Alright, let's play it. It's static, so let's animate it. Select your text plus node, go to frame 0 and under the shading tab, bring the opacity down to 0. Click the little diamond to add a keyframe. Now move 30 frames forward and bring the opacity back to 1. Let's play it. Looks nice. Next, we want the text to disappear in the same smooth way. Let's say we want it to start fading out at frame 120. Go to the shading tab, click the diamond to add a keyframe at frame 120. Move 30 frames forward and reduce the opacity back to 0. Play it back. Perfect. The text slowly appears, hangs around so everyone can see it, and then gently fades away. Now, there are lots of ways you can style your text, but just for example, let's add a soft glow to give it a dreamy cinematic vibe. Select your text node, press Shift plus space, type in soft glow, and add it. Whoa, that's a lot of glow. Let's go to the inspector panel and bring it down a bit. Adjust the gain until it feels right. Something like 0.6 or zero point 0.7 works well. Looks good. It gives our text a nice, smooth glow around it. Let's play the video one more time. Perfect. The text really pops and has that cinematic touch. Alright, now that you are getting comfortable with the nodes and understand how they work, let's take it up a notch. Ready for a little challenge? We are going to create a cinematic lower third, something that you will be using all the time in your videos. So let's grab a rectangle node and connect it to the background node. Select the background node and go to Inspector and change the color type to gradient. Here you can pick two colors. Just click the left and right triangles and choose whatever colors you like. Looks good. Now let's connect our rectangle to the main pipeline using a merge node. Just drag a merge node from the toolbar, hover it over the main pipeline, and when the line turns blue and yellow, release it. Fusion will connect it automatically. Then connect the background node to the merge node, and now our rectangle shows up in the final preview. You can resize it by dragging the edges, but for more precise control, use the width and height sliders in the inspector panel. Now to give it a model look, change the border style to rounded and bump up the corner radius just a little to about 0.25. That gives our rectangle a nice, smooth, modern feel. We will animate the rectangle in a moment. But first, let's add our text. Grab a text plus node, preview it in the left viewer, and type in your text. Let's say downtown. Style it however you like. Now let's connect it to the main pipeline. But instead of dragging a new merge node onto the pipeline, here's a quicker way. Just connect your text plus node to the output of the merge node, and Fusion will automatically add a new merge node for us. Let's position our text nicely on the rectangle and play the video. Looks good, but right now our design is static. We want it to feel alive. So let's bring our design to life using a little magic of keyframes. Select your rectangle node and go to frame 0. First, copy your current width value so you don't have to remember it, because we will be needing it in a moment. Then set the width all the way down to 0 and click this little diamond to add a keyframe. Move 10 frames forward and paste the width value back in. Let's play and see how that looks. Nice and smooth. Now we want our rectangle to appear, stay for a bit, and then gently disappear. So let's say we want it gone after frame 100. Go to frame 100, add a keyframe, move 10 frames forward, and bring the width back down to 0. Let's play it again. The rectangle appears smoothly, hangs around for a moment, and then fades away just as nicely. Now we just need to do the same thing with our text. Select your text node, go to frame 9. First, tweak the center Y value just a tiny bit so the text sits nicely near the top. Then go to the shading tab, set the opacity to 0. Click the diamond to add a keyframe. Go back to the layout tab and add a keyframe on the center Y value too. Now move a few frames forward, let's say 10, and bring the opacity back to 1. At the same time, tweak the center Y value back to its original position so the text slides into place. Let's play it and see. Now we want our text to slowly fade out after frame 100. So go to frame 100 and add a keyframe on the tracking value and another keyframe on the opacity in the shading tab. Move 10 frames forward, reduce the tracking as much as possible, and bring the opacity down to 0. Let's play it and see. Looks good. By following this method, you can easily create your own lower thirds that match your style. Now we are going to learn one of the most important skills in Fusion, making your text or any design element follow a moving subject in your videos. Let's start by dragging a mini keychain PNG from our media pool. Connect the keychain node to the output of the media in node so it becomes a part of the main pipeline. Now you can see it in the final preview. Next, add a transform node to the keychain node and resize and position it on the object you want it to follow. For example, let's make it look like the keychain is actually part of the backpack, not something we just slapped on later. Select the keychain node, press Shift plus space, and add a drop shadow node. Tweak its settings just a little to make it look realistic. Much better. Let's play the video. Right now, the backpack is moving, but our little keychain is just standing still. It is not sticking. To make it move with the backpack, we need it to follow every movement the backpack makes. And we will do that using a tracker node. First, delete the merge node for now. We don't need it. Select your media in node, press Shift plus space, and add a tracker node. Alright, let's adjust the tracking point. Go to frame 0 and place the tracking point somewhere on the backpack. Then in the Spectre panel, just click Track Forward. You can see the tracker is following backpack perfectly. Now that the movement is tracked, let's connect our keychain to the tracker so it sticks to the backpack. But we can see our keychain. That's because we haven't set the operation mode. Select the tracker node, go to Operation tab, and set it to match move. Perfect. Now let's play the video and check it out. Looks pretty good. Now there are a couple of ways we could make this even more realistic. For example, part of the keychain ring could go behind the backpack, so it feels like it is really connected to it. We could even make the little bag swing gently from side to side. We can do all of that right here in Fusion using these nodes. But let's save that for another tutorial. The main goal of this project was to show you how to use a tracker node. Now you have done the hard work, and it would be a shame if we don't save our hard-earned designs as macros. So let's save our this text animation we created as a macro. First, select all the nodes that make up your design. Right-click, go to Macros, and choose Create Macro. You will see a window pop up. It might look a little intimidating at first, but don't worry, it's not as scary as it seems. This window is basically asking, what controls do you want to expose so you can easily adjust your design later? Of course, we want to be able to change the text, font, style, color, size, and maybe a few other key things. Scroll through, check the boxes for the controls you want to keep. Remember, you don't need everything, just the essentials that you will actually use in future. Give your macro a proper name. Once that's done, save it into your effects library folder. And you have got a reusable drag and drop tool ready for any project. Now, let's say you are working on a new project and want to use that animation you saved as a macro. Find your macro in the folder where you saved it and just drag and drop into your node editor. Connect it to your media in node and you are good to go. On the right, you will see the controls you exposed when creating the macro. Super handy. Great job if you followed along. I hope you found this helpful and picked up something new. If you did, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos.